Good evening, you are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Director General of UNESCO praises His Majesty's continuous efforts and far-sightedness with huge challenges that human being faces. A slight decrease in inflation is noticed during the month of September. And 30 people are killed and tens of others wounded in two blasts at a train station in Ankara. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. Her Excellency Irina Yukova, Director General of UNESCO, praised efforts, pioneership and far-sightedness of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos through His Majesty's continuous attention to big challenges facing humanity in various fields. This came in a statement to Oman News Agency on the occasion of announcing the winner of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos Prize for Environment Protection for 2015, which was the research group on wetlands of Buenos Aires University of Argentina. She said that the prize sheds light on the most prominent global achievements and contributions in the field of environment protection and management. UNESCO valued the Sultanate's contribution to realizing the utmost goals that the organization works tirelessly to achieve, and the Sultanate's support to protect environment and preserve its potentials. The inflation rate in the Sultanate witnessed during September 2015 a decrease by 0.1% compared to the corresponding month last year. This was attributed by National Center for Statistics and Information to the decline in the prices of most main groups such as transport, foodstuff, beverages and various commodities and services. Meanwhile, the group of housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels increased by 0.7%, while prices of the group of health, education and telecommunication were stable. On the level of governor rates, Governor rate of Muscat recorded the highest inflation increase rate by 0.36%, following by Governor rate of Dhahira by 0.36%. Meanwhile, governor rates of North and South Sharqiya recorded an increase in inflation rate by 0.93%, while the governor rate of Bahraini witnessed a decline by 0.61%. The inflation rate also decreased in the governor rate of North Batina by 0.41% and the governor rate of Dakhiliya by 0.21%. The rate remained the same in the governor rate of Dhafar. Comprehensive media coverage skills for Shura Council elections were the center of a workshop organized by the Ministry of Information in cooperation with the Media Committee for Shura Council elections and Omani Journalists Society. It aimed to acquaint participants with latest development in the election process and necessary skills to cover the voting process. The workshop also dealt with the principles and international standards for election process media coverage. It also focused on the significance to keep pace with the phases of the election process. The workshop targeted radio and television correspondents in various governorates of the Sultanate. A video published online showed the moment a huge explosion struck the Turkish capital Ankara during a peace rally today, which left 30 people killed and hundreds wounded. Moments later, a huge explosion rattled near the protesters who ran away, covering their heads and seeking shelter. The Turkish Interior Ministry confirmed that 30 people were killed and 126 were wounded in the twin explosion outside Ankara's main train station. The attacks came 3 weeks ahead of a parliamentary election in Turkey and at a time of multiple security threats, not only in the rest of Southeast, but also from Islamic State militants in neighboring Syria and homegrown leftist militants. Two Palestinian youths have been announced martyred during clashes with Israeli forces this morning, raising the number of martyrs to 16 since the beginning of this month. 22-year-old Salim Al-Ubaid died from wounds sustained after being shot by Israeli snipers during a demonstration yesterday. The demonstrations were held near the border fence with Israel, east of Gaza City and near Khan Yunis. 145 other Palestinians were injured by live fire or rubber-coated steel bullets during the Gaza demonstrations yesterday. Another Palestinian young man was killed at dawn today, when Israeli forces attacked protesters from Shuwaifat refugee camp north of occupied Jerusalem. 20-year-old Ahmed Salah was shot dead by Israeli soldiers during clashes at the entrance of the camp. Al-Qaeda in Yemen claimed today to have killed 4 men suspected of practicing witchcraft and sorcery in an area controlled by the militants. Residents of Mayafa town in the southeastern province of Hadramaut said Al-Qaeda militants had distributed a pamphlet naming the 4 men. Meanwhile, warplanes from the Arab-led coalition raided positions of the insurgents east of the rebel-held capital. The airstrikes targeted Houthi rebels in the west of Ma'rib province amid ongoing clashes between them and forces loyal to President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi. Syrian rebels battled the Daesh group in northern Aleppo province today, a day after they advanced to the outskirts of the city of the same name. The rebels, including the powerful Ahrar al-Sham group, were able to recapture a village from Daesh. Clashes were ongoing for control of a second village captured by Daesh yesterday. The group's advance brought to within 20 kilometers of the front line between rebel forces and the army in Aleppo, where government forces are stationed in the Sheikh Najjar industrial zone. It also threatened rebel access to a key road leading to the Turkish border. Elsewhere in Aleppo province, heavy clashes were underway between government forces and Daesh in the area around Queiris military airport, which is held by the army but besieged by the rebels. North Korea marked the 70th anniversary of its ruling Workers' Party today with a massive military parade overseen by leader Kim Jong-un, who said his country was ready to fight any war started by the United States. Thousands of troops stood at attention under a blue autumn sky in Pyongyang's main Kim Il-sung Square, named after Kim Jong-un's grandfather and the founder of the nation, as Kim, appearing relaxed and confident, made his speech leaning heavily on the lectern. Still to come in our news bulletin. Collecting artifacts and handicrafts is a hobby for many in the Sultanate. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Within the context of voluntary service efforts that motivates youth to practice voluntary works, Al-Ma'mur youth in the Wilaya of Bahla implemented a group of works and service activities. The service activity was implemented in cooperation with Bahla municipality. It came within the context of a campaign to protect public utilities. Al-Ma'mur youth conducted a number of field works like cleaning villages, streets and mosques, in addition to painting public facilities in the village. Female awareness teams visited a number of houses in the village to distribute brochures that emphasize the importance of voluntary work in serving the society. Omani Committee of Sports organized a walkathon in the Wilaya of Barka to mark the World Walking Day. The activities of the walkathon were held on the coastal road with the participation of various society segments. The organizers of the walkathon wanted to emphasize the importance of walking in preventing heart diseases, high blood pressure and diabetes. They wanted to deliver the message sports to strengthen health to the public. In its route to India, Qatari ship Fath Al Khair docked at Sur port in the governorate of South Sharqiya. The Qatari vessel was received with warm welcome by citizens of the Wilaya of Sur. The welcoming program included traditional dances and recitation of some poetry. The Qatari ship started its voyage from Katara beach in the Qatari capital Doha, heading to India. The voyage aims to use the traditional wooden ships to revive the seafaring memories of the Gulf people. Collecting artifacts and handicrafts is a hobby for many in the Sultanate. This hobby costs a lot and it requires much effort and time. Ahmed Al-Hamadani is an Omani youth who is interested in collecting artifacts and handicrafts that narrates the past of our Omani forefathers. Such artifacts include khanjars, traditional weapons and wooden mill. These items narrate the life of the Omanis in the past. Now for the general weather forecast. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with accumulative clouds and scattered rainfall in the Hajar Mountains and the nearby areas. Winds will be easterly to northeasterly, light to moderate along the coasts of Sea of Oman, while it will be southerly to southwesterly, light to moderate along the rest of the Sultanate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Director General of UNESCO praises His Majesty's continuous efforts and farsightedness with huge challenges that a human being faces. A slight decrease in inflation is noticed during the month of September. And 30 people are killed and tens of others wounded in two blasts at a train station in Ankara. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.